Hello all. In this hopefully very short video, I'm just going to demonstrate a program that will take camera images from the webcam and will write them to a file. This is a demo that you can then grab this code and use for other purposes. All right, so I'm going to talk through what this code is doing first, and then I'll run it, and then we'll show you what it does. So it's using the CV2 module. OpenCV, I've written a function called save video. So I'm going to give it a file name. The way this code is set up, I'm going to save it as a .avi file. I believe I could change a few things and save it as an MP4. I'm also telling it what number of camera I want to use for the video capture. So here, as I've done in an earlier video, I'm using the connecting to the webcam, using the video capture tool within OpenCV. I tell it what number of camera, and it gives me a capture object. Here, I'm actually reading that a frame from the camera, and I'm being a little sloppy here because I'm assuming that this is going to work. I'm going to display the frame, and I'm going to wait for the user to hit a key to go on. This is so the user can make sure they're ready to actually have it start writing. And the reason that I did this before we even get to the while loop is that I want to set up the video writer, and I need to know how big the camera frames are before I can set up the video writer. So I actually did all of this just so that I could grab the height, width, and depth of the frame, the image, from the webcam. So I'm doing that, and then I'm setting up a variable called size that has just the width and the height. And then these two lines right here basically set up the writer object. It's separate. Video capture is for reading. We have a separate object called a video writer, which is for writing images to a file. We're setting it up. This 4cc is just like what encoding are we using, like what format are we writing to, and mjpg is what AVI files use, so that's what we set up there. And then we call the video writer and we tell it the name of the file, the format, how many frames per second. I'm going to make this bigger because it can do a lot more. The size, and I think, I'm not sure what the one is doing there, but the size is then the size that we gave to it. Let's see if I can get rid of it. Then we actually have our while loop, which is very similar to earlier examples. It reads a frame from the camera, and if there was an actual frame, it writes it to the file and displays it. I have it set up with a slightly different method so that it will let me quit if I hit a Q. I'll have that be 10. And if we don't get a camera frame, then it quits as well. Notice we have to release the webcam, the capture object, and we have to release the file. It is so important that anytime you are writing to a file, you properly close or release before you end your program. You want to make sure all that data is officially written to the file, and it isn't as if your program just ends and some of the data gets lost. All right, down here at the bottom, I'm calling the function. I'm going to set up something called testvideo.avi using my webcam. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop view, and then we'll hope this actually works because I haven't run it before. All right, so it isn't started yet. I want to make sure I'm ready, and I'm going to start waving my hand, and I'm going to hit a key to get it to go. Okay, so now it's recording. I'm going to wave. I'm going to fly something across the screen. And then I'll hit Q, and that'll be the end of it. Okay. So if we go back in to look up close at Python, you can see there is, in fact, a file called testvideo.avi. AVI files can be read. You need the right kind of application to read them. They aren't necessarily readable by default. But you know who can read them? It's OpenCV. So I am going to go back over to SimpleVid. This was a program I was showing in an earlier video, and I'll show you how to read in a file. It happens to be the case I just saved testvideo.avi in the same folder with the code files. So I can just run it in the same way. So I should be able to just say testvideo.avi. PyCharm seems to think there's nothing going wrong here. So when I run this, it's going to display the frames from the video. Now it's a very short video, so it's going to run really fast. Let's switch out to this whole screen view and try this, see how it goes. There, it's showing the video as it was, and then it comes to the end. All right, I want to do one more thing, because so if you remember this code, this example had the do negative. I want to show you that you can read in an image and process its frames just as well. So we'll run it again, and I'm going to have my finger on the N key so that I can actually do things like make the recorded video negative or not. All right, one last look at the code just to remind you of what we're doing. This is simple vid. I want to flip back over to vid write. The key is it takes a little bit of extra setup before you start looping. You need to set up the video capture and you need to set up the video writer, and there's a lot of kind of arcana you have to know about, or you just copy this example and use it. But you could learn about other encodings that you could save to, and it might depend on your computer what exactly you can use. Within the loop, it's not that different. It's just that we need to actually call the writer and give it the frame and tell it to write it to the file. All right, video writing is something that you might do once in a while. You can also just make videos with other forms, use your phone or whatever, and then convert them to a format that OpenCV can use, and then you can just read them in using the video capture if you prefer. I'm going to stop there, and I will see you very soon.